developed the water fuel cell as a retrofit energy systems to conventional cars.
The Avro car symbolizes the culmination of the second stage.
Throughout history, the path of technological and scientific progress has been marked not only by the inventions that have shaped our world, but also by those that, for various reasons, were pushed into the shadows, never reaching their full potential. These suppressed inventions encompass a wide range of innovative ideas and technologies that, despite their potential to revolutionize many aspects of our lives, were sidelined due to a complex interplay of various factors. These factors often include corporate interests, government intervention, economic considerations, and sometimes the rigid skepticism of the scientific community. From Nikola Tesla's visionary ideas about free energy to the mysterious circumstances surrounding the demise of Stanley Meyer's water-powered car, we combined a list of 10 suppressed inventions that had the potential to completely change the world we live in. Number 1. The Ogle Carburetor. In the archives of automotive history, few stories are as intriguing and controversial as that of the Ogle Carburetor. Invented in the 1970s by Tom Ogle, a self-taught mechanic from El Paso, Texas, this device promised a revolution in fuel efficiency.
And it's running too lean, so it just spits it back out of the carburetor.
Claiming to enable a car to travel over 100 miles on a single gallon of gasoline. The invention came at a time when the world was grappling with the oil crisis, making Ogle's innovation not just a technological marvel but a beacon of hope for a fuel-efficient future. Tom Ogle's journey into the world of innovation was as unconventional as his background. Without formal training in mechanical engineering, Ogle managed to devise a carburetor system that challenged the status quo of automotive technology. The Ogle Carburetor's principle was relatively straightforward yet revolutionary. Traditional carburetors mixed air and fuel before feeding it into the engine for combustion. Ogle's system, however, eliminated the carburetor and fuel pump, replacing them with a black box that vaporized the fuel before it entered the engine. This vaporized fuel system allowed for more efficient combustion, significantly reducing the amount of fuel needed to power the engine. Ogle claimed that his system could maintain a car's performance and power while drastically cutting down on fuel consumption. The implications were enormous. Not only would it save consumers money, but it would also reduce dependence on oil and lower automotive emissions. Ogle's invention quickly caught the public's attention. In 1977, he demonstrated his modified 1970 Ford Galaxy, which reportedly achieved extraordinary fuel efficiency. The story was picked up by various media outlets, propelling Ogle to instant fame. He received patents for his invention and was courted by investors and major companies, intrigued by the potential of his fuel-saving system. Automotive experts were puzzled about how the Ogle carburetor could achieve such high efficiency without significant modifications to the engine itself. Despite the skepticism, Ogle continued to promote his invention, turning down substantial offers to buy his patents. He was determined to see his system implemented on a large scale. But his dream was suddenly cut short. In 1981, Tom Ogle died under mysterious circumstances at the age of 24. While official accounts declared that his passing was due to an overdose involving alcohol and prescription drugs, friends and advocates raised suspicions of foul play, considering the significant financial implications involved. The death of Tom Ogle led to numerous conspiracy theories. Some believed that the oil industry, threatened by the prospect of a drastic reduction in fuel consumption, played a role in suppressing his invention. Others speculated that it was the work of auto manufacturers who feared the impact of such a technology on their business model. The Ogle Carburetor, despite its initial promise, faded into obscurity. The patents exist, but no major automotive manufacturer has implemented the technology in a production vehicle. The reasons are a matter of speculation. Some argue that the carburetor was never as effective as claimed, while others maintain that the suppression by powerful interests is responsible for its disappearance. Number 2. The Rif Machine. In the early 20th century, Royal Raymond Rif, an American inventor and scientist, embarked on a journey that would lead him to the fringes of medical science. He developed the Rif Machine, an invention that he claimed could effectively diagnose and cure cancer. Rife's journey unfolds as a multifaceted saga, marked by pioneering inventions and a contentious battle with the medical establishment. It all started in the 1930s when Rif created the universal microscope, which was a masterpiece of optical engineering. It boasted magnifications reportedly over 60,000 times, surpassing the capabilities of standard microscopes of the time. This allowed Rif to observe living viruses in their active state, a feat that was not possible with the electron microscopes of his era, as they required samples to be dead and stained. Rif claimed that his microscope used a complex system of prisms and rotating lenses to bend light in new ways, illuminating the tiny viruses. Parallel to his work on the microscope, Rif developed the Rif Machine, an invention that could cure all kinds of viruses and bacteria, together with cancer cells. The machine was based on the principle that every organism has its own unique electromagnetic frequency. Rif asserted that if you could find the correct frequency, you could destroy a pathogen or a cancer cell without damaging the surrounding tissue. He conducted several experiments, reportedly curing cancer in lab animals and later in human patients. Rife's claims were extraordinary. He asserted that his technology had a 100% success rate in treating cancer. In 1934, he even held a clinic which he claimed resulted in the successful treatment of 16 cancer patients. These claims would have represented a monumental breakthrough in medical science, potentially saving millions of lives. However, Rife's work was met with skepticism and hostility from the medical establishment. Critics argued that Rife's cancer-curing claims were unfounded, despite the fact that there were cancer patients stating they were cured by him. The turning point came when a lawsuit was filed against Rif by the American Medical Association, AMA.
You've been accused of practicing medicine without a license. It's a very grave charge, son. Are you aware that it's unlawful?
The legal battle was arduous and costly. Following the lawsuit, Rife's laboratories were reportedly ransacked, and his research documents were destroyed. His supporters claimed that there was a concerted effort by the medical establishment to discredit and suppress his work, driven by financial interests and threatened by Rife's potentially disruptive technologies. Rife's life after the lawsuit was tragic. He became reclusive and his health deteriorated. He died in 1971, penniless, largely forgotten, and cruelly discredited. However, his legacy lived on. In the years following his death, Rife's work gained a cult following. His machine became a symbol of alternative medicine and a rallying point for those distrustful of mainstream medical science. Number 3. The water fuel cell. In the realm of alternative energy, few stories are as compelling and enigmatic as that of Stanley Meyer and his water fuel cell. Stanley Meyer, an inventor from Ohio, introduced the water fuel cell in the 1980s.
I don't care if you use rainwater, well water, city water, ocean water. If you don't have any fresh water, go ahead and use snow. If you don't have any snow available to you, then use salt water because there's no adverse effect to the fuel cell.
Meyer's cell was not just an electrolysis device. He claimed it used a unique process involving resonant frequencies to break the bonds of water molecules with minimal electrical input. Meyer demonstrated his invention in a dune buggy he claimed was powered entirely by his water fuel cell. According to him, The vehicle could use water as fuel, converting it into hydrogen and oxygen gases, which were then used to generate combustion. This concept was revolutionary, promising an abundant, cheap, and environmentally friendly fuel source. It attracted significant attention, with Meyer even being featured in local news and gaining interest from overseas.
This here at 6 o'clock, an age-old dream becoming a reality. A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
Despite the initial excitement, Meyer's claims were met with skepticism from the scientific community. His story took a dramatic turn on March 20, 1998. Meyer, who was dining at a restaurant, suddenly ran outside, clutching his throat. Suddenly, he fell to the ground and died shortly thereafter. The official cause of death was ruled a cerebral aneurysm, but this did not stop the emergence of numerous conspiracy theories. Supporters of Meyer's work speculated that he might have been poisoned or otherwise targeted due to the threat his invention posed to the global oil industry. Following Meyer's death, interest in his water fuel cell persisted, with various individuals and groups attempting to replicate his work. However, no one has successfully demonstrated a working model of Meyer's device that clearly shows the production of energy in a manner consistent with his claims. While Meyer's invention promised a world free from the shackles of fossil fuels, his mysterious death left many unanswered questions. The water fuel cell remains a symbol of hope for some and a subject of skepticism for others, a vital part of the quest for clean, unlimited energy. Number 4. Antigravity Device. In the annals of experimental physics and fringe science, few figures are as enigmatic as Thomas Townsend Brown. His work on anti-gravity technology, which began in the early 20th century, has sparked decades of debate, fascination, and skepticism. Brown's exploration into electrogravitics, the study of electrically charged systems' gravitational behavior, led him to develop what he claimed to be an anti-gravity device, a concept that could revolutionize our understanding of physics and transportation. Thomas Brown's journey into anti-gravity research began with his fascination with the Biefeld-Brown effect, a phenomenon he discovered as a young student. This effect, named after Brown and his mentor, physicist Dr. Paul Alfred Biefeld, suggested that electrically charged capacitors exhibited a small thrust in the direction of the positive pole when suspended in a vacuum. Brown hypothesized that this thrust was due to an interaction between the electric field and the gravitational field, a theory that laid the groundwork for his later experiments. Brown's anti-gravity device, often referred to as a gravitator, was based on the principles of electrogravitics. The device typically consisted of a set of capacitors and electrodes, where high-voltage electric charges were used to create an ionic wind, which Brown believed could produce a propulsive force. In his experiments, Brown demonstrated that when voltage was applied, the device moved in the direction of the positive electrode, an effect he attributed to anti-gravity. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Brown conducted a series of public demonstrations of his anti-gravity devices. These demonstrations often involved disc-shaped objects, which would levitate or move when subjected to high-voltage charges. The apparent defiance of gravity by these devices captured the imagination of the public and attracted the interest of the U.S. military. Brown's work was seen as potentially groundbreaking for aerospace technology, offering the prospect of aircraft and spacecraft that could defy gravity and maneuver in unprecedented ways. Despite the intrigue surrounding Brown's work, his claims were met with significant skepticism from the scientific community. Critics argued that the forces observed in Brown's experiments were not anti-gravity, but rather a well-understood phenomenon known as ion wind or electrostatic thrust. This effect, where ions are transferred from one electrode to another, creating thrust, was known to be far too weak to account for the kind of propulsion necessary for anti-gravity flight. Thomas Brown's work on anti-gravity devices has left a lasting legacy, shrouded in mystery and controversy. After his death, much of his research fell into obscurity, with detailed information about his experiments and findings remaining elusive. Some believe the CIA took all of his research and erased anything left to the public, much like they did with many other inventors that we'll discuss in this episode. Nevertheless, Thomas Brown's work has continued to inspire scientists and inventors in the field of alternative propulsion systems. Number 5. The Warden Cliff Tower. Nikola Tesla, a man so ahead of his time that his name became synonymous with innovation, proposed a concept that could have potentially altered the course of human civilization: free wireless energy transfer. This ambitious idea, born from Tesla's brilliant mind, promised a world where energy would be as accessible and abundant as the air we breathe. However, the journey of this revolutionary concept was fraught with challenges, leading to its eventual downfall, largely influenced by financial and commercial interests. Tesla's concept of free energy was not just about the wireless transmission of power. It was about tapping into the inexhaustible energy sources of the universe. He believed that energy could be harnessed from the environment, from the sun, the air, and even the ether that he believed permeated space. Tesla envisioned a world without the need for coal, oil, or any of the conventional power sources. His idea was to create a global system of wireless energy transmission towers that would provide free and unlimited power to the entire world. The most significant step towards realizing Tesla's dream of wireless energy transmission was the construction of the Warden Cliff Tower in Shoreham, New York. This tower was designed to be the first broadcasting system in the world, transmitting both signals and power without wires to any point on the globe. The Warden Cliff Tower was not just a technological marvel. It was the embodiment of Tesla's vision of a future powered by free energy. Tesla's ambitious project caught the attention of financier J.P. Morgan, who initially provided funding for the Warden Cliff Tower.
To get you started, I'll give you $150,000 to cover your costs of research.
Morgan was interested in the commercial potential of wireless communication, but was less enthusiastic about the concept of free energy. When it became apparent that Tesla's primary goal was the wireless transmission of free power, Morgan began to retreat.
How can we use your light show for the purpose of transmitting radio signals?
He realized that this technology, if successful, would be difficult to monetize compared to wired electricity, which could be easily metered, and he stopped funding the project. The withdrawal of J.P. Morgan's funding was a critical blow to Tesla's project. Without the financial backing, Tesla struggled to continue his work on the Warden Cliff Tower. The project was plagued by debts and logistical challenges, eventually leading to its abandonment. The tower was dismantled in 1917, and Tesla's dream of a world powered by free wireless energy remained unfulfilled. Despite the failure to realize his grand vision, Tesla's ideas about wireless energy transmission left a lasting impact on the scientific community. His work laid the foundation for future innovations in wireless communication and power transmission. Tesla's vision also sparked a broader discussion about the possibilities of harnessing renewable energy sources and the potential for a future where energy is more accessible and sustainable. His concept of free wireless energy transfer continues to inspire scientists, inventors, and enthusiasts around the world. Unfortunately, Tesla died in poverty, mocked by the established scientific community and without realizing his dreams. His papers and all of his ideas was confiscated by the U.S. government, and nothing of note was shared to the public. Tesla's vision of a world not bound by the limitations of conventional energy sources resonates strongly in an age where the search for sustainable and renewable energy solutions has become more critical than ever. His work serves as a reminder of the power of innovation and the importance of pursuing ideas that challenge the status quo, even in the face of formidable obstacles. Number 6. The Orgone Generator. The Orgone Generator, a device developed by the Austrian psychoanalyst Wilhelm Reich, stands as one of the most intriguing and controversial inventions in the field of alternative medicine. Wilhelm Reich, initially part of Sigmund Freud's circle, diverged from traditional psychoanalytic doctrines, delving into areas that combined both psychological and physical aspects of human health. In the 1930s, he began to develop the theory of orgone energy, which he described as a form of energy that permeated all living things and the atmosphere. Reich believed that orgone was the substrate of all life, a blue glowing life force that could be visually observed and measured in his experiments. Reich's Orgone Generator, also known as an orgone accumulator, was a device he claimed could collect and store orgone energy from the environment. The most common form of this device was a box-like structure, large enough to sit in, made of alternating layers of organic and inorganic materials. The organic layers were meant to absorb the orgone energy, and the metallic ones to reflect it, creating a concentration of energy inside the box. Reich's claims about the Orgone Generator were broad and ambitious. He proposed that this concentrated orgone energy could be used for a variety of purposes, from improving mental and physical health to even combating diseases like cancer. Reich conducted several experiments and trials, claiming significant results in the treatment of various ailments and conditions using orgone energy. All patients who used the Orgone Generator stated that Reich's claims are truth. In fact, there were many that were cured by his device. The Orgone Generator and the concept of orgone energy quickly attracted controversy. The scientific community largely dismissed Reich's theories, criticizing the lack of empirical evidence and the seemingly mystical nature of the orgone. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, began an investigation into Reich's work, particularly his claims about the medical benefits of the Orgone Generator. In 1954, the FDA obtained an injunction against Reich, ordering him to stop distributing his writings and orgone accumulators. The FDA's main contention was that orgone energy did not exist, and that Reich's claims were therefore fraudulent. Reich defied the injunction, leading to his arrest and imprisonment. The harsh attacks against Reich were very strange, considering he wasn't even charging his clients and he offered healing for free. Wilhelm Reich's imprisonment and the subsequent destruction of his publications and orgone generators were a significant blow to his work. His laboratory was burned to the ground. He died in prison in 1957, a broken man, largely discredited by the scientific community. Many believe he was poisoned while in prison. Nevertheless, his followers continued to advocate for his theories and the use of orgone generators. Despite the controversy and the official discrediting of his work, Reich's concepts have continued to influence alternative science and holistic health circles. The Orgone Generator has become a symbol of alternative approaches to understanding life energy and has inspired a range of similar concepts and devices in the realms of energy healing and New Age practices. The modern perspective on the Orgone Generator is divided. Some view it as a pseudo-scientific relic of a bygone era, while others see it as a misunderstood and suppressed technology with potential benefits yet to be fully explored. The scientific community remains skeptical of the claims made about orgone energy, citing a lack of empirical evidence and the failure of subsequent researchers to replicate Reich's results. Number 7. the Avrocar. In the 1950s, at the height of the Cold War, a unique and ambitious project took shape under the guidance of British engineer John Frost at Avro, Canada. This project, known as the Avrocar, was a foray into the world of vertical takeoff and landing (VTOL) aircraft, but with a twist that captured the imagination of both the military and the public.
By Avro Aircraft Limited at Malton, Ontario, the Avrocar symbolizes the culmination.
It was designed to resemble a flying saucer. The Avrocar was a symbol of futuristic aspirations and technological innovation during a period of intense global competition in aerospace advancements. The Avrocar project, initially code-named Project Y, was born out of John Frost's vision to create a new type of aircraft that could provide the maneuverability of a helicopter and the speed of a jet. Frost was intrigued by the idea of a circular aircraft that could achieve vertical takeoff and landing, a concept that seemed straight out of science fiction at the time. The design promised several advantages, including omnidirectional flight, which was thought to be ideal for reconnaissance and potentially for combat in the burgeoning space race era. The Avrocar was designed as an 18-foot diameter saucer with a central turbine engine that blew exhaust out of the rim of the disc, creating a cushion of air for it to hover upon. This Coanda effect, where airflow adheres to a curved surface, was expected to provide lift and thrust simultaneously. The pilot would control the vehicle by altering the flow of air. In theory, the Avrocar would be capable of high speeds and altitudes, with the added ability to hover and take off vertically. As groundbreaking as the concept was, the Avrocar faced significant challenges from the start. The prototype struggled with stability and control issues, particularly at higher speeds and altitudes. The cushion of air that was supposed to lift the craft made it susceptible to ground effect, limiting its operational height to a few feet above the ground. The Avrocar also faced problems with overheating and insufficient thrust. Despite these challenges, 2 prototypes were built and underwent extensive testing. The initial tests were promising, demonstrating the vehicle's ability to hover and move across the ground. However, as testing progressed, it became clear that the Avrocar could not achieve the performance levels required for military applications. It was unstable and difficult to control, especially at the higher speeds necessary for practical use. Initially, the Avrocar project received significant interest from the U.S. military, particularly the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Army, who saw potential in the vehicle's unique design for various applications, including as a flying jeep. However, as the technical limitations became apparent, military interest waned. The project's focus shifted from a high-speed, high-altitude vehicle to a low-flying, all-terrain vehicle, but this too failed to meet the necessary requirements. By 1961, after several years of development and testing, the Avrocar project was officially canceled. The technological and engineering hurdles proved insurmountable with the technology available at the time. The 2 prototypes were retired, with one eventually making its way to the National Museum of the United States Air Force and the other to the Canada Aviation and Space Museum. The Avrocar remains a fascinating footnote in the history of aviation, a testament to the ambitious aerospace engineering of the 1950s. It represented a bold attempt to break the conventional boundaries of aircraft design and pointed towards a future that, while not realized at the time, continued to inspire advancements in aerospace engineering. Number 8. The AOW Wagon. In the early 20th century, a unique and ambitious project emerged in the Soviet Union, spearheaded by a young inventor named Valerian Abakovsky. His creation, the AOW Wagon, or Aero Wagon, was a propeller-driven railcar designed to revolutionize high-speed rail travel. This innovative vehicle, blending aeronautical design with railway technology, promised to drastically reduce travel times between cities. However, the AOW Wagon's journey was marked by a tragic event that led to the project's abrupt end. Abakovsky, only 25 years old at the time, was inspired by the burgeoning field of aviation and sought to apply its principles to railway transportation. The Aero Wagon was equipped with an aircraft engine and a large propeller at the front, designed to pull the rail car along the tracks at unprecedented speeds. The design of the AOW Wagon was a striking departure from traditional trains. It was essentially a rail car with an airplane engine and propeller mounted on the front, capable of seating up to 22 passengers. The vehicle's aerodynamic design and lightweight construction were intended to enable high-speed travel, significantly cutting down journey times compared to conventional steam locomotives. The AOW Wagon's maiden voyage took place on July 24, 1921, a test run from Moscow to the Tula region. The journey was a demonstration of the vehicle's capabilities, attended by several Soviet officials and engineers. While the outbound trip to Tula was successful, the return journey to Moscow ended in catastrophe. On the way back, the Aero Wagon derailed at high speed, resulting in a tragic accident that claimed the lives of everyone on board, including Abakovsky. The accident was a significant setback for the project and raised serious questions about the safety and viability of the AOW Wagon. An investigation into the crash revealed that the high speed of the vehicle may have contributed to the derailment, highlighting the challenges of controlling such a fast-moving rail car on the existing tracks. The tragedy cast a long shadow over the concept of propeller-driven trains, leading to skepticism and apprehension about similar ventures. Despite its tragic end, the AOW Wagon was a bold experiment in rail transportation that represented an innovative attempt to merge aeronautical technology with railway engineering, aiming to create a new mode of high-speed ground transport. The project reflected the spirit of innovation and the pursuit of speed and efficiency that characterized the early 20th century. Number 9. The Hoxy Tonic. Harry Hoxy's herbal cancer treatment, a concoction of herbs, minerals, and other natural ingredients, stands as one of the most controversial chapters in the history of alternative medicine. Hoxy, a self-taught healer, claimed his herbal remedy could effectively treat cancer, a claim that brought him both widespread acclaim and fierce criticism.
And we now have in our files and our records many, many thousands of case histories and records, pathological proof, X-ray photographic studies that we do positively cure cancer, both internal and external, and we now have records proving that the cure stands up for many, many years, as far back as over 20 years here in Texas.
His story is a complex interplay of alleged healing, legal battles, and the enduring debate over alternative cancer treatments. Harry Hoxy's journey into cancer treatment began in the 1920s, rooted in a family recipe purportedly passed down by his great-grandfather. This recipe, a blend of herbs including red clover, burdock root, and licorice, was claimed to have anti-cancer properties. Hoxy believed that this herbal mixture, combined with dietary changes and other natural therapies, could detoxify the body and cure cancer. Buoyed by testimonials from patients who claimed to have been cured, Hoxy opened his first clinic in Illinois in 1924. Over the years, he expanded his operations, opening clinics across various states in the USA. These clinics offered the Hoxy treatment, which varied depending on the type and location of the cancer, but generally included an external salve for topical cancers and an internal tonic for other types. The Hoxy treatment quickly garnered attention, with many patients vociferously supporting its efficacy, stating they were indeed cured by the formula. However, the medical establishment was highly skeptical. Critics argued that there was no scientific evidence to support Hoxsy's claims, and that his treatment was at best a placebo and at worst potentially harmful. Despite the lack of mainstream medical endorsement, Hoxsy's clinics continued to attract patients, many of whom turned to his treatment after conventional cancer therapies had failed. This popularity further fueled the controversy, with Hoxy positioning himself as a folk hero fighting against the established medical system. Hoxsy's widespread popularity and bold claims inevitably led to legal challenges. The American Medical Association, AMA, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and other regulatory bodies accused Hoxy of practicing medicine without a license and selling unapproved drugs. A protracted legal battle ensued, with Hoxy defending his right to offer alternative cancer treatments. One of the most significant legal confrontations occurred in 1950 when the FDA filed a suit against Hoxy for promoting unproven cancer cures. The ensuing legal battles were lengthy and complex, involving numerous court cases and appeals. The continuous pressure from the medical establishment and the legal system eventually led to the closure of Hoxsy's clinics in the United States. However, his story did not end there. In 1963, Hoxsy's chief nurse, Mildred Nelson, moved the treatment operation to Tijuana, Mexico, where it continued to operate under the name Biomedical Center. The center attracted patients from across the globe, continuing Hoxsy's legacy. Harry Hoxsy's herbal cancer treatment story is a poignant reminder of the complexities surrounding alternative medical treatments. It underlines the challenges faced by therapies that exist outside the realm of conventional medicine, especially in the highly sensitive and critical area of cancer treatment, which is an industry worth billions of dollars. Hoxsy's story is not just about a herbal remedy. It's about the broader themes of hope, healing, and the ongoing debate over the boundaries of medical practice. Number 10. Cold fusion. In 1989, the scientific world was rocked by an announcement from chemists Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pond, who claimed to have achieved a nuclear reaction at room temperature, a process they termed cold fusion. This extraordinary claim suggested a future where energy could be produced cheaply, cleanly, and abundantly, revolutionizing the world's energy landscape. However, the ensuing controversy and challenges surrounding cold fusion have made it one of the most debated topics in modern science. Martin Fleischmann, a renowned electrochemist, and Stanley Pons, then chairman of the chemistry department at the University of Utah, announced in March 1989 that they had successfully produced a nuclear fusion reaction at room temperature. In traditional nuclear fusion, as occurs in the sun, immense heat and pressure are required to force atoms to fuse, releasing vast amounts of energy. Fleischmann and Pond's claim of achieving this process under ambient conditions was nothing short of revolutionary. The experiment conducted by Fleischmann and Pons involved electrolysis of heavy water, deuterium oxide, using a palladium electrode. They reported that their apparatus produced excess heat that could not be explained by chemical reactions alone, suggesting that a nuclear process was at work. They also claimed to have detected byproducts, such as neutrons and tritium, typically associated with nuclear reactions. The announcement generated immense interest worldwide, with the prospect of a simple, inexhaustible, and non-polluting energy source. However, it also attracted intense skepticism from the scientific community. Many experts were dubious, as the claims seemed to violate well-established nuclear physics principles. The key criticism was the lack of consistent, repeatable results, a cornerstone of scientific research. Following the announcement, numerous laboratories attempted to replicate the results. Some reported successes, but many failed to reproduce the excess heat or nuclear byproducts claimed by Fleischmann and Pons. The inconsistency of results, along with errors and ambiguities in the original experiment's methodology, led many to dismiss the claims of cold fusion as erroneous or even fraudulent. The announcement of cold fusion was not just a scientific event, it became a media sensation. The public, excited by the possibility of a clean and cheap energy source, followed the developments closely. This media frenzy, coupled with the premature disclosure of results before peer-reviewed publication, contributed to the controversy and skepticism surrounding cold fusion. In the years following the announcement, the initial excitement gave way to disappointment and criticism. Major scientific institutions and journals grew increasingly skeptical, and funding for cold fusion research became scarce. Fleischmann and Pons faced professional and personal backlash, with their careers and credibility significantly impacted. Despite the controversy, the idea of cold fusion has refused to disappear entirely. A small but persistent group of researchers continues to investigate low-energy nuclear reactions, as cold fusion is now more commonly known. These efforts are often on the fringes of mainstream science, with limited funding and recognition. Cavity structural effect. Viktor Grebennikov was a self-taught entomologist from Russia. His journey into the unknown began with a fascination for the natural world, particularly the insect kingdom, which he believed held secrets to extraordinary powers, including anti-gravity. The cornerstone of Grebennikov's discovery was the cavity structural effect, CSE, a concept he derived from closely observing the structure of bee nests and the behavior of insects. It all started in the early 1980s while Grebennikov was camping in the vast Siberian steppe. While laying on the ground, he suddenly experienced an unusual sensation, only to find out he was lying atop an underground bee city. He experienced headaches, ringing ears, and a metallic taste in his mouth, which sparked his interest in the peculiarities of the natural structures around him. Delving deeper into this phenomenon, Grebennikov collected parts of the bee nest and began experimenting. He observed an unusual heat emanation from the honeycomb structures, a sensation that could not be detected or measured by conventional scientific instruments. This observation led him to theorize about the existence of a force field generated by the geometric configuration of the honeycombs, a field capable of influencing the surrounding environment in ways not previously understood by science. Grebennikov's investigations took a significant turn when he examined the chitin shells of insects under a microscope. He discovered an unusually rhythmic, extremely ordered structure that seemed to defy gravity. When he attempted to place two of these chitin plates together, one plate hovered in the air for a few seconds before aligning itself with the other. This observation was the first step toward understanding the anti-gravitational properties of certain natural structures. Convinced of the potential of his discovery, Grebennikov embarked on a project to harness the cavity structural effect for human use. He constructed a platform with thousands of chitin shells attached to its underside, creating what he claimed was an anti-gravity vehicle. According to Grebennikov, this vehicle could travel at speeds of up to 1,500 kilometers per hour and reach heights of 300 meters off the ground. More astonishingly, the device supposedly made the rider invisible from below and encased them in a bubble-like force field that nullified inertia and dynamic pressure. Despite the incredible claims and the profound implications of his work, Grebennikov faced skepticism and rejection from the scientific community. After his patent application in 1992 was denied, Grebennikov attempted to share his groundbreaking work through a book. This publication was intended to detail his discovery, outlining the principles and mechanisms behind his invention, supplemented by a wealth of full-color images and potentially including photographs from a museum demonstration of his device. However, in a turn of events that raises questions about the motives behind the decision, the publishers, potentially influenced by external pressures, significantly altered the book just before its release. This involved the removal of hundreds of images and all schematic details that were crucial for understanding Grebennikov's work. This situation begs the question: why was Grebennikov, already under scrutiny and skepticism from his peers, subjected to further efforts that seemed to undermine the evidence of his invention? A longtime colleague of Grebennikov suggested that he was part of a so-called scientific underground, which faced opposition and perhaps even persecution from the established scientific community and government bodies. Perhaps then, Grebennikov's inadvertent discovery was more profound and potentially disruptive than initially thought. It could be that his work touched upon a force or technology so significant that it was deemed too dangerous or too powerful to be allowed into the public domain, prompting efforts to bury his findings and silence the discussion around them. The Hemp Car. In the 1940s, amidst the turmoil of World War II and the rise of the industrial era, Henry Ford embarked on a groundbreaking project that diverged significantly from the automotive norms of his time. Known for his innovative spirit and the revolutionary assembly line production of the Model T, Ford turned his attention towards environmental sustainability long before it became a global concern. His vision materialized in the form of a car that was not only powered by biomass fuel, but was also constructed from it, with hemp being the primary material.
A new idea from Ford 420, the new car made from weed. How can cops stop you for the possession of drugs when your car is made entirely out of it?
This initiative, while pioneering, found itself in the shadows, eclipsed by the dominant petroleum industry, which was rapidly expanding its global footprint. Ford's interest in renewable resources and sustainable materials was not a sudden revelation. He had long advocated for the integration of agriculture with industry, believing that farms could serve as a vital source of raw materials for manufacturing. The concept of the hemp car was a direct manifestation of this belief, showcasing Ford's commitment to exploring alternative materials and fuels. The car's body was made from a composite material that included hemp fibers, which, when combined with other plant fibers, resulted in a lightweight, durable, and biodegradable product. This material was not only environmentally friendly, but also boasted a tensile strength reportedly 10 times that of steel, offering significant safety benefits alongside its ecological advantages. Moreover, the hemp car was designed to run on hemp biofuel, derived from the seeds of the cannabis plant. This choice of fuel was emblematic of Ford's vision for a future where automobiles would not be reliant on non-renewable energy sources. The use of hemp biofuel presented a sustainable, clean-burning alternative to gasoline, promising a reduction in harmful emissions and a move towards greater energy independence. The public unveiling of the hemp car in 1941 was a spectacle that drew considerable attention. Ford demonstrated the resilience of the car's body through a sledgehammer test, where the material withstood blows without showing signs of damage, a testament to its remarkable durability. Despite the innovative features and the environmental benefits of the hemp car, the project did not progress beyond its initial demonstration. The reasons for this are manifold, with the prevailing petroleum interests of the time playing a significant role. The mid-20th century marked a period of rapid expansion for the oil industry, with petroleum becoming the lifeblood of the global economy. This shift towards oil-based energy sources created an environment where alternative fuels and materials, such as those proposed by Ford, faced significant obstacles in terms of acceptance and implementation. The economic and political clout of the petroleum industry, coupled with its strategic importance, meant that initiatives like the Hemp Car were sidelined. The legal and cultural landscape of the time also contributed to the project's demise, with hemp cultivation facing increasing restrictions due to its association with psychoactive strains of cannabis. These factors, combined with the onset of World War II and the subsequent shift in industrial priorities, led to the Hemp Car project being largely forgotten. The radiant energy device. In the 1930s, a period marked by scientific breakthroughs and the burgeoning of modern physics, an inventor named T. Henry Moray introduced a device that he claimed could harness the boundless energy of the cosmos. This radiant energy device, as Moray described it, was purported to tap into the unseen forces of the universe, offering a limitless source of power that could potentially revolutionize the way humanity generated and used energy. However, despite its promising premise, Moray's invention was met with skepticism, discreditation, and even sabotage, leading to a contentious chapter in the history of alternative energy research. Moray, an electrical engineer and physicist from Salt Lake City, Utah, was deeply influenced by the pioneering work of Nikola Tesla and other scientists who explored the frontiers of electromagnetism and radioactivity. Drawing on these influences, Moray theorized that the space around us is filled with a form of energy that, if properly harnessed, could provide an inexhaustible power source. His device, which he began developing in the early 1920s, aimed to convert this cosmic energy into electrical power, using a complex arrangement of semiconductors, capacitors, and other electrical components. The core of Moray's invention was a special valve, a semiconductive material that he claimed could absorb radiant energy from the environment and convert it into high-voltage electricity. This process, according to Moray, did not violate the laws of thermodynamics, as it merely converted existing energy from one form to another. He demonstrated his device on numerous occasions, reportedly powering lights, radios, and motors in front of witnesses without any apparent external power source. Despite these demonstrations, the scientific community remained largely skeptical of Moray's claims. Critics argued that the device's operation and the theory behind it were not adequately explained or documented in a manner that could be independently verified or replicated. The lack of a clear theoretical framework that aligned with established physics further fueled skepticism, as did Moray's reluctance to disclose the full details of his invention, citing concerns over intellectual property and the potential for misuse. The situation was further complicated by allegations of sabotage and persecution. Moray reported that his work had attracted the attention of powerful interests who sought to suppress his invention, fearing its impact on the existing energy sector. He claimed to have been threatened, his laboratory ransacked, and his equipment damaged in attempts to halt his research. As the years passed, Moray continued to refine his device and advocate for its potential, but he was unable to secure the support needed to bring his invention to fruition. After Moray's death, his invention faded into obscurity, remembered more as a curious footnote in the annals of alternative energy than as the revolutionary breakthrough he had envisioned. Perpetual motion. Victor Schauberger, an Austrian forester, naturalist, and inventor, spent a significant portion of his life studying the dynamics of water flow and natural energy. Born in 1885, Schauberger's observations of the natural world led him to develop theories and inventions that many have since associated with the concept of perpetual motion, a principle proposing a machine or system that can operate indefinitely without an external source of energy. It's crucial to note, however, that Schauberger himself never claimed to have developed perpetual motion machines. Instead, his focus was on understanding and utilizing the natural power of the Earth, particularly vortices in water flow, which he believed could be harnessed for beneficial purposes. Schauberger's approach was deeply rooted in his observation of nature. He believed that modern technology and engineering ignored the harmonious principles found in natural systems, which, according to him, could lead to energy generation without the cost of environmental degradation. His famous aphorism, "Understand nature, then copy nature," reflects the core of his philosophy. Schauberger argued that water, when allowed to flow in a vortex, could create its own energy through implosion, a concept that stood in contrast to the explosion-based technologies like combustion engines, which dominate human technology. One of Schauberger's most notable contributions was his research into vortex dynamics. He observed that water in rivers and streams naturally follows a meandering spiral path, and posited that this motion is essential for maintaining the water's vitality and energy. By mimicking these patterns, Schauberger invented several devices intended to produce energy or propulsion. His repulsion, for example, was a saucer-shaped machine designed to generate propulsion through a series of specially designed wave-like patterns that would create a vortex of air or water. This device captured the imagination of many, leading to speculation that Schauberger had unlocked the secrets of perpetual motion and free energy. His work attracted the attention of the Nazi regime during World War II, and there are accounts of him being coerced into developing his inventions for military use, an experience that reportedly left him disillusioned and wary of the potential misuse of his discoveries. After the war, Schauberger continued his research, but his inventions never achieved the commercial success or scientific recognition he hoped for. The controversy surrounding Schauberger's work intensified after he was taken into custody by U.S. intelligence agents and held for 9 months. During this period, all of his documents and prototypes were confiscated, and he was interrogated about his inventions and his activities during the war. This episode has fueled speculation suggesting that Schauberger's innovations in harnessing natural energies were of such potential that they were considered a threat to the established scientific, economic, and political order, leading to their alleged suppression by the U.S. government. Coral Castle. Coral Castle is an oolitic limestone structure located in Homestead, Florida, and stands as one of the most mysterious architectural feats of the 20th century. Created single-handedly by Edward Leeds Kalnin from 1923 to 1951, this monumental structure weighs approximately 1,100 tons. The technology behind Coral Castle, as well as the techniques employed by Leeds Kalnin, remain subjects of speculation and intrigue, with theories ranging from ancient sciences to unknown forms of energy. Edward Leeds Kalnin's early life was marked by profound heartbreak after he was rejected by his 16-year-old fiancée in Latvia. He then embarked on a journey to the United States, where he was later diagnosed with terminal tuberculosis. Remarkably, however, he claimed to have cured himself using magnets, which also marked the beginning of the mysterious construction of Coral Castle. He began to build what he initially called Rock Gate Park, dedicating it to the lost love of his life. Leeds Kalnin, who stood just over 5 feet tall and weighed only 100 pounds, worked alone, mostly at night, so no one could see his methods. He claimed to have discovered the secrets of the pyramids, which allowed him to move and carve massive stones. The stones used in the construction are massive, with some blocks weighing as much as 30 tons. Stunningly, Local teenagers who claimed to have seen Leeds-Kalnin work at night described how they observed the massive stones moving as if manipulated by some supernatural force. Many speculated that he employed some form of ancient technology or knowledge that has since been lost to time. Leeds-Kalnin was secretive about his methods, but he did offer some clues. He suggested that he understood the laws of weight and leverage well, and photographs from the time show him using tripods made from timber. However, these tools seem insufficient for the task, leading to theories that Leeds-Kalnin had a deep understanding of magnetic forces and used this knowledge to lift and move the stones. One popular theory about Coral Castle's construction involves the use of electromagnetic energy or Earth's magnetic field. Leeds-Kalnin published several pamphlets on magnetic currents, indicating his deep interest and possible reliance on magnetic forces for the construction of Coral Castle. He believed that all matter consisted of individual magnets, and that this inherent magnetism could be harnessed to achieve seemingly impossible feats.
So if you reverse the magnet force with a force of some kind of electromagnetic, radio perhaps, frequency, you can then make these rocks not as heavy as they seem otherwise, and therefore you can lift them.
Another theory suggests that Leeds-Kalnin used acoustic levitation, a method that uses sound waves to lift and move objects. Some researchers propose that by tuning into the resonance frequency of the stones, Leeds-Kalnin could have made them easier to move. This theory is supported by ancient legends and modern experiments that demonstrate the potential of sound to manipulate physical objects. Despite these theories, no definitive evidence has been found to conclusively explain how Leeds-Kalnin constructed Coral Castle. The secrecy surrounding his methods and the lack of eyewitnesses have only deepened the mystery. Today, Coral Castle serves as a museum and tourist attraction, drawing visitors from around the world who are fascinated by its history and the mystery of its construction. The technology behind Coral Castle remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of the modern world. The Wasp X-Jet. The quest for innovative vertical takeoff and landing (VTOL) systems has led to numerous experimental designs, one of the most intriguing being the Williams X-Jet. Developed by Williams International, a company recognized for its engineering prowess in turbofan technology, the X-Jet emerged as a groundbreaking VTOL system. Also known as the Williams Aerial Systems Platform, or the WASP, this compact, lightweight aircraft was powered by a turbofan aircraft engine, showcasing a blend of simplicity and advanced engineering that set it apart from other VTOL concepts of its time. It was designed to carry a single operator who could control the aircraft by simply leaning in the desired direction of travel and adjusting the power. This intuitive control mechanism, combined with the X-Jet's agility, allowed for movements in any direction, rapid acceleration, hovering, and rotation on its axis. The aircraft boasted an impressive capability to stay aloft for up to 45 minutes, reaching speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, making it an exceptional vehicle for personal transportation. Despite its innovative design and capabilities, the Williams X-Jet's journey was not without challenges. In the 1980s, the U.S. Army evaluated the X-Jet as part of its ongoing exploration of new VTOL technologies. The military's interest in such systems was driven by the potential for enhanced mobility and flexibility on the battlefield, beyond what conventional helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft could offer. The X-Jet presented an intriguing option for individual soldier mobility. However, after thorough evaluation, the U.S. Army concluded that the Williams X-Jet, while innovative, was inferior to the capabilities provided by helicopters and small unmanned aircraft. The decision was based on several factors: including the X-Jet's limited range and payload capacity compared to helicopters and the rapidly advancing technology of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, which offered greater versatility without risking a pilot's life. Additionally, the operational complexities and training requirements for safely piloting the X-Jet presented logistical challenges for its integration into military operations. Although this technology wasn't suppressed, and it would be an improvement in people's daily life, it wasn't utilized as it was too expensive and relatively hard to fly. The exploration of VTOL technology continues to evolve, with new designs and concepts emerging that build upon the foundational work of projects like the Williams X-Jet. The Cloudbuster. Although we already talked about Wilhelm Reich's Orgone Accumulator, the healing device that used orgone energy to cure many people, this wasn't the only invention made by Reich. His interest in orgone energy led him to believe that this energy could be harnessed for various purposes, including the manipulation of weather. According to Reich, orgone energy was present throughout the atmosphere and could be concentrated and directed to dissolve cloud formations, thereby inducing rainfall. The Cloudbuster device, developed in the 1950s, was the practical application of his theories. It consisted of a set of hollow tubes connected to cables that were immersed in water, which Reich claimed could draw orgone energy from the atmosphere and direct it to disperse cloud cover or, conversely, to form clouds and precipitate rain. Reich conducted several experiments with the Cloudbuster, claiming successes in rainmaking in various locations, including a well-documented experiment at a blueberry farm in Maine, where he alleged to have broken a drought and saved the crop. These experiments attracted attention, not all of which was positive. Critics dismissed Reich's claims, citing a lack of scientific rigor and reproducible results, while supporters hailed the potential of the Cloudbuster to address drought and other weather-related challenges. The legal and governmental challenges faced by Reich and his Cloudbuster project were, in part, a consequence of the broader controversy surrounding his work on orgone energy. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, initiated an investigation into Reich's practices, particularly his claims regarding the health benefits of orgone energy and the use of orgone accumulators, devices designed to concentrate and harness orgone energy for therapeutic purposes. The FDA's scrutiny extended to the Cloudbuster as part of its broader campaign against Reich's orgonomic research. In 1956, following a series of legal battles, Reich was sentenced to prison for contempt of court, related to his refusal to comply with an injunction against the distribution of organ-related materials. The controversy surrounding the Cloudbuster was thus intertwined with the wider legal actions against Reich, which culminated in the destruction of his publications and orgone accumulators by the FDA, an act that has been described by some as a dark moment in the annals of scientific censorship. The original electric car. The tale of the General Motors EV-1, the world's first mass-produced electric car, is a clear example of the suppression of emerging technologies due to industrial interests. Launched in the late 1990s, the EV-1 represented a bold foray into electric mobility, a glimpse into a future where automobiles no longer relied on fossil fuels. However, the journey of the EV-1 was abruptly halted, sparking debates that continue to resonate today, especially in the context of the 2006 documentary, Who Killed the Electric Car? The EV-1 emerged from General Motors as a pioneering effort to address the growing concerns over air pollution, oil dependency, and the environmental impact of conventional vehicles. With 800 units available for lease, the EV-1 quickly garnered a dedicated following, appreciated for its innovation, efficiency, and the statement it made about the potential for a cleaner automotive future. Yet, Despite the enthusiasm it generated among a niche group of environmentally conscious drivers, General Motors announced the end of the EV1 line in 1999, a mere few years after its introduction. Their cause for discontinuing the EV once centered on economic considerations, primarily the limited driving range of the car's batteries, which they argued made the vehicle unprofitable to produce and maintain. According to General Motors, the technology at the time could not meet consumer expectations for range and convenience, making the EV a challenging proposition for widespread adoption. However, this explanation did not satisfy many observers. Skeptics and supporters of the EV speculated that there were other forces at play, specifically the influence of the oil industry. The argument goes that oil companies, whose business model relies on the continued dominance of internal combustion engine vehicles, viewed the advent of electric cars like the EV as a direct threat to their profits and market position. According to this perspective, pressure from these powerful interests led General Motors to not only discontinue the EV, but also to take extraordinary measures to erase its existence. A policy was issued by General Motors to hunt and destroy every last EV1. Rather than allowing the leased vehicles to remain with their enthusiastic users or preserving them as part of automotive history, General Motors systematically retrieved and crushed the EV1S, effectively ensuring that the technology would not advance beyond its prototype stage. This decision has been interpreted by many as an attempt to stifle the development of electric vehicle technology, keeping it from challenging the status quo of the automotive market. Today, as electric vehicles gain increasing market share and acceptance, the story of the EV1, with all its controversy and mystery, underscores the notion that the path to progress is often unplugged and uncertain. Project XA. The story of Dr. James D. Mould and his cancer-free cigarettes is one that would incense every smoker and every person who has lost a loved one due to the effects of tobacco smoking. The history of cigarette advertising and the tobacco industry's practices regarding the disclosure of health risks is a controversial chapter. It's a well-known fact that for decades, tobacco companies engaged in aggressive advertising campaigns that not only promoted smoking as a desirable and socially acceptable habit, but also employed tactics that downplayed or outright denied the health risks associated with smoking. One of the most notorious aspects of these campaigns was the use of advertisements that featured doctors or implied medical endorsement, creating a misleading narrative about the safety of cigarettes. In the early to mid-20th century, cigarette advertisements were ubiquitous, appearing in magazines, newspapers, billboards, and later on television. These ads were designed to appeal to a broad audience, including women, men, and even teenagers, using various themes such as glamour, masculinity, sophistication, and stress relief. Starting in the 1950s, research began to shed light on the detrimental health effects of smoking, but tobacco companies fought vigorously to discredit these findings. They funded their own research to create doubt about the health risks, embarked on public relations campaigns to maintain the social acceptability of smoking, and lobbied politicians to prevent or weaken regulation. This leads us to 1955, when a scientist named Dr. James D. Mould embarked on groundbreaking research with Liggett and Myers, a tobacco company based in North Carolina. Tasked with identifying carcinogenic components in cigarette smoke, Mould's research focused on substances that cause cancer in laboratory mice. This endeavor led to the inception of Project XA, a bold initiative aimed at creating a safer cigarette by eliminating or reducing these harmful ingredients. Project XA represented a significant departure from traditional cigarette manufacturing. Mould, with support from Liggett and collaboration with the AD Little Company, dedicated himself to developing a cigarette that wouldn't contribute to cancer. After 25 years of rigorous research and development, Mold introduced the XA, also known as the Palladium cigarette. This innovative product utilized palladium and magnesium nitrate to neutralize cancer-causing substances in cigarette smoke. Laboratory tests confirmed the efficacy of these cigarettes in reducing cancer incidence among lab animals, marking a potential breakthrough in tobacco product safety. However, despite the initial backing from Liggett, the project encountered insurmountable obstacles. The company's executives, influenced by legal counsel, decided to withdraw support for Project XA. The lawyers argued that introducing a safer cigarette could expose the company to a deluge of lawsuits from consumers harmed by their traditional products. This legal concern effectively halted the progress of Project XA, forcing Mold to abandon over 2 decades of work. Liggett's directive to Mold to keep his findings unpublished ensured that the public remained unaware of the potential for safer cigarettes, leaving the health risks of conventional tobacco products unaddressed. Another reason the Palladium cigarette never made it to the shelves was because Liggett didn't want to break ranks with other tobacco giants like Philip Morris. Although the company knew that the product would be commercially viable and marketable, they were more worried about the potential retaliation from other tobacco companies in the industry. The cessation of Project XA, after an investment of approximately $10 million, underscores a troubling chapter in the history of tobacco research. Worse still, Liggett and other tobacco giants continued to sell cancer-causing cigarettes, even though they were fully aware of the health risks associated with what they sold. The Hendershot Generator. Lester Hendershot was an American inventor in the late 1920s, claimed to have developed a device capable of generating free energy. The Hendershot generator, as it came to be known, was said to harness the Earth's magnetic field to produce electricity without the need for fuel. This remarkable invention had the potential to revolutionize the world's energy landscape, offering an unlimited source of power that could render traditional energy sources obsolete. Lester Hendershot's invention was described as a self-running generator, a device that purportedly created energy through a series of coils and capacitors without the need for an external power source. Hendershot's demonstrations of the device in the late 1920s reportedly showed it powering light bulbs and motors, captivating the imagination of the public and drawing the attention of both the media and potential investors. Despite the initial excitement, a strong campaign to undermine his technology was underway, with some detractors going as far as publicly demonstrating a device they claimed was Hendershot's, attempting to prove its ineffectiveness. This act of discreditation signaled to Hendershot's supporters that there were concerted efforts to undermine his work. Undeterred, Hendershot persisted with his free energy generator for many years. By the late 1960s, he believed he had a breakthrough that would interest the U.S. Navy, preparing 2 models and a detailed 56-page proposal. Nevertheless, his proposal was denied. In April 1961, as Hendershot's son was returning from school, he found his father dead. Officially recorded as a suicide, the absence of a thorough investigation led many, including his family, to suspect foul play, theorizing that his innovative work posed a significant threat to large energy corporations. Rumors circulated that Hendershot had been warned by a major corporation, which he declined to name, to cease all work related to his generator, underlining the potential disruption his invention could cause to their lucrative business. Allegedly, Hendershot accepted $25,000 under the condition he halted his research for 2 decades. He had expressed fears for his safety to his family, indicating the gravity of the threats he faced. Hendershot's death and the suppression of his invention continued to provoke deep questions. The narrative of suppressed inventions is a complex and multifaceted one, intertwining innovation, ambition, controversy, and often the harsh realities of economic and political interests. As we have explored various cases, from the visionary endeavors of Nikola Tesla to the contentious claims of cold fusion by Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pons, a common thread emerges: the delicate balance between groundbreaking discovery and the societal, scientific, and commercial forces that shape their trajectories. These stories serve as poignant reminders of the myriad challenges that confront radical innovation. They highlight the resistance that transformative ideas often face, whether due to entrenched interests, regulatory hurdles, scientific skepticism, or a combination of these factors. The tales of the Avra car, the AOW Wagon, and Harry Hoxsey's herbal treatment, among others, underscore the reality that the path to innovation is seldom smooth and is frequently fraught with obstacles, both external and internal. Moreover, the saga of suppressed inventions underscores the importance of rigorous scientific validation and peer review, especially in cases where the stakes are high, such as in medical treatments or energy solutions. It also points to the need for a supportive ecosystem that fosters and nurtures innovation, one that balances skepticism with open-mindedness and economic interests with societal welfare. As we reflect on these stories, we are reminded of the enduring human spirit of curiosity and the relentless pursuit of knowledge and progress. While not all claims of suppressed inventions withstand scrutiny, each story contributes to the tapestry of human endeavor and the ongoing dialogue about the role of innovation in society. In the end, the saga of suppressed inventions is not just about the inventions themselves, but about the broader themes of human aspiration, the quest for understanding, and the complex dynamics that govern the advancement of technology in our world. If you're interested in more incredible inventions, watch our video on Nikola Tesla's secret inventions that were lost or censored. The link is in the top pinned comment.